Good morning, everyone. So welcome to the virtual exchange panel session. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about virtual exchange and also another common name, collaborative online international learning. So as Dr. Manny mentioned, so we have been, really, right, because all the efforts from OII and also many faculty and also support from AGSC. So we have many faculty members and also students doing virtual exchange with many countries. So I'm the moderator, I'm Yali Zhao, the head of GSU International Virtual Exchange Programs. So I've been leading the programs for the past few years, and I'm very proud to see that because of the great efforts of our support from OII, AGSC, and hundreds of faculty, we have been really achieving well and give students great opportunities to engage with colleagues from so many countries. So I would like to have Dr. Manning to give a very brief overview of virtual exchange program at GSU. Especially, you're going to be surprised and happily surprised to see how we're growing our programs. And also after the overview, so we have also GSU faculty who have been working with international partners on virtual exchange, and also our international partners will be also sharing with us here. We'll have some introductions of, they are going to talk about the wonderful innovative virtual exchange projects, and also we're going to have some questions, answers, and also I will also have some questions related with faculty and also students, right? Dr. Manny, yes. You want to run here or I will?
Yeah, I can do it. Hi again. I'm sorry that you have to hear from me twice in a row. I'll try to be brief. And, it's dangerous to give an academic a microphone and ask them to be brief. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick overview of virtual exchange at Georgia State. Virtual exchange, as you can read, it connects our students with peers in other countries. There are lots and lots of different ways to do this, but the core of it is that there's a collaborative project or a series of assignments that add up to meaningful engagement collaboratively between students. OII supports faculty doing virtual exchange projects. We've been very fortunate, again, to have the support of AGSC. We provide funding and support to novice and veteran VE faculty alike. If you want to teach a virtual exchange course, we will give you a free Zoom room for that purpose. Yali and David and many of the people that are actually doing this work participate monthly in a faculty teaching and learning academy. So anyone can, it's virtual, so sometimes our international partners join and can share their experiences, hear about ours, and also Yali, David, and Ethan do the tireless work of connecting our faculty with international partners. And this is probably the biggest challenge, is finding partners that are appropriate for each course. We have, though, despite the challenges, we have 322 courses that are tagged as virtual exchange, and that tagging is important. It's extremely difficult to get all of those courses counted, but we've been working hard to do that. We have had 94 GSU faculty receive funding for virtual exchange projects, and we have 85 international partner institutions in countries and regions around the world. And as I said before, we had more than 10,000 students in GSU alone who have participated in virtual exchange. And this is just a nice visual of where our partners are. If you were to click on this QR code, you would see, you can learn more about each of the partner universities. Okay. This is a very nice chart showing the incredible growth of virtual exchange since 2019. So, as you might guess, the Georgia State's investment in virtual exchange was an outgrowth of, in part, of COVID, right? Students couldn't travel abroad anymore physically, so what can we do to still connect them internationally? And this, I think, is really this is showing the very strong growth that we've been able to have. Another thing that I like to talk about when I talk about virtual exchange is how, how it's distributed across the university. So there are many colleges and units doing it. I always, have to, it's RCB that's always blowing everyone else out of the water. And one of the reasons they do this, and this is why it's important to mention, is that RCB invested resources in virtual exchange early on. So in the Institute of International Business, for example, one of the required courses for every major is a virtual exchange course. They have taken the time to pay for GTAs to help develop those courses on top of the resources that we are able to offer. And they have invested also in building partnerships with their international partner schools. Something that I think is important to say about virtual exchange is it's a pretty good, the students who participate in virtual exchange are a fair reflection of the Georgia State student body. So there's a lot of diversity in terms of the students that are being reached through virtual exchange. This is just showing you the level of student where they are in their degree processes. You can see it's mostly undergraduates, and it's about almost half of the students are seniors. We want to use virtual exchange to reach students earlier on in their careers, though, because this is something that you might not be ready to study abroad as a first-year student, but you certainly could be ready to participate in a virtual exchange course. And there's a lot to, as you'll hear, there's a lot to be gained from that. This is, again, just sort of showing who are the students in these virtual exchange classes. So we are not reaching a small, specially selected, curated group of students with virtual exchange. We're reaching everybody across the board, and I think that's really important. So that's all I had to say. Well, it was kind of brief. Yay. So now over to the people who are really doing the work.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have different slides. Sorry about this. Okay, so you're going to be first, right?
Okay.
Okay. So the professors will be doing a little bit of introduction of yourself and the projects. So basically learn what you're doing here and also how our students benefit from this wonderful projects.
All right, thank you. I'm David Yenerall, and I work with a wonderful partner.
Go ahead.
From University of New South Wales, Australia. Her name is Professor Carol Oliver. She's PhD. She's the Associate Director of MSciCom. She's one of the directors of the Australian Centre for Astrobiology. So at Perimeter College, I teach astronomy and I also teach astrobiology. And I've been involved in virtual exchange for several years. Our relationship is proof that there is no one way to find a partner. I was listening to a podcast about astrobiology, and they mentioned the Australian Centre for Astrobiology. So I went online and saw the faculty that were there. Carol seemed like she was cool. So I sent her an email. Hi, Carol, I'm an astrobiologist too. What do you think about virtual exchange? She told me, I immediately answered, I'm vividly interested. Let's build something, and we did. So, and I share this with you because I think it's important to share this with your students. When you engage them in virtual exchange, share your humanity with them. Share your story, how you made a meaningful connection with another person across the world who you otherwise would not know. Because that's what they're doing. The academic learning, this is an important part of it. They'll probably remember the academics involved in their virtual exchange for quite some time, but the connection, the friendships, those last a very long time. I have students that I've engaged in virtual exchange many years ago, and they've kept these relationships. And when I solicit student feedback, that is what they concentrate on. So in a way, by engaging our students in virtual exchange, we're doing what nations often have a hard time doing. We're promoting peace through friendship and understanding and communication. So I'm going to play a video that Carol it is 1 o'clock tomorrow morning in Australia. This is one of the lessons that the students take away from this is how to not only the global competencies and the intercultural communication competencies, but also simple things like traversing distances of space and time zone, and finding a way to get the job done. Okay, so Let's keep our fingers crossed that this technology works.
Good day from Australia. My name is Carol Oliver and I am a Professor of Astrobiology and Science Communication at the University of New South Wales in Sydney. I'm quite active globally and I really love connecting astrobiology and the public communication of science. I do this with a really interesting question. Are we alone in the universe? Now, I doubt we'll ever find intelligent life elsewhere in the universe, and really for several good reasons. But I'm deeply interested in the possible public reactions to such a discovery. It's a way to look through the science communication lens in a subject area on which everyone has an opinion. And that's how Dr. David Yenerall of Georgia State University found me. One day, an email dropped into my mailbox and it sparked a collaboration that began several years ago. Since then, several cohorts of students, divided by international time zones, have found a place to collaborate and enjoy a global perspective on their learning. We used a technology that we've developed at UNSW, the Teaching and Learning Authoring Tool, Talia, to create laptop-delivered immersive virtual field trips that are pedagogically framed so that they can be used for novel assessment as well as teaching and learning. And that's what David and I did. We used a virtual field trip for a shared assessment across our classes. The sense of place is known to be an important factor in student learning. So, with NASA, I learned how to make the first astrobiology-related virtual field trip in 2007, and the following year, how to do that at scale in partnership with Arizona State University. There are now around about 25 VFTs at ASU, and the simple address to view them at is vft.asu.edu. Since 2016, the University of New South Wales has been working on creating VFTs that are pedagogically relevant to undergraduate students. Talia empowers academics across diverse disciplines and even students to design immersive virtual field trips without requiring any specialized training or technical skills. This innovative tool bridges the gap between accessibility and experiential learning, enabling place-based education and assessment that enhances student engagement and learning outcomes. Since the first astrobiology-related VFT in 2007, the cost of VFTs has come down from $100,000 each and not editable by the academic to free, and that can be editable by the academic. In fact, it's so easy that students make VFTs with no training needed whatsoever. It was the basis for the international collaboration, first with the University of Auckland in New Zealand, and then with Georgia State University. So, what makes a virtual field trip such a good tool for collaboration between universities? It's because it's agnostic to student experience. David's class is first year. My class is final year postgrad. Yet these students buddied up and learned from each other across time and space. Sydney and Atlanta are not only far apart in time zones, but they usually exist in different days. My message to you today is to think outside of the box. How can technology help classes to connect internationally and work together on relevant assessment, something that has a concrete and measurable outcome? There isn't any doubt students at Georgia State University and at the University of New South Wales will remember this collaboration long after they may have forgotten much of the content. In an AI world, content is no longer king. It is how the student applies the content, and what better application than to international collaboration. Thank you for your time today, and my best wishes for the conference. I'm sorry not to be there. Thank you.
How do I get back to my slide?
Going back to yours, right? No, sorry. Want to see more?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Okay, so isn't Carol delightful? And she really knows what she's doing. She's modest. She's actually on this permanent SETI committee that is in charge of first response after first contact. Like so, so my students truly learn from her. They truly learn from her students, and it allows them to synthesize the information and the knowledge that they've constructed, and also share that synthesis and inspire synthesis with my students. So they're truly constructing knowledge. So there's a lot, I'm out of time. I've probably taken too much time already, but Carol and I have been invited, and we've just submitted a chapter to a book that is being edited by Tony, Yali, and Ethan. It's Empowering Learning Through International Virtual Exchange, Removing Barriers and Building Bridges in Higher Education. Do we know when it's going to be published?
2026, early to mid.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a lag, but it's under contract with Prof. It's definitely happening.
Excellent. So this will be a great opportunity for you, by putting this on your calendar and securing your own personal edition of this book. It will be a perfect opportunity to learn more about the lessons that Carol and I learned through this experience. Okay, any questions? Oh, yes.
So David has been instrumental in leading the virtual exchange programs at Pyramid College, and it's been growing all these semesters because of your great efforts. So we have questions later on, right? So we have Professor Namura. Yes. So, and also we have our professor from Japan, who's also going to present for us together, right? Okay,
Can we share the PowerPoint?
yes, I'm going to share here. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Welcome, Dr. Suzuki, right?
Namura. My name is Namura. Hi, everyone. My name is Taeko.
Professor from Japan, join us here, the collaborator.
Yes.
I think it's a PDF.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Hi, my name is Taeko Namura. I'm lecturer of Japanese at Georgia State University. Nice to meet you, everyone. And nice to meet you. And my partner is Osaka Metropolitan University, Professor Chizuko Wallestad. Yes. By the way, Osaka Metropolitan University is my father's alma mater. So I thought, that's it. Okay. This university I really want to partner with. Yes. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about our virtual exchange project. The title is Creating a Poem with International Partners in the Cross-Linguistic Virtual Community. So the class in which the project was implemented is Advanced Japanese 2 course, and the students are 90 students, and which was held in, I did this project in spring 2024. And before starting the project, to pursue integrity of research, so I obtained an IRB approval from the GSU's Human Subject Office for the future conference presentations like this or publishing. And then I collaborated with Virtual Exchange virtual language tables at Osaka Metropolitan University with Professor Wallestad. Okay, Professor Wallestad, please.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So then, what is a virtual language table? And we call VLT, and it is a virtual platform where our students in Japan can talk with the students learning in the US, which are US institutions, and then the GSU is the university that we were collaborating with, and especially with Dr. Namura. And we created this intercultural virtual exchange opportunity to be collaborative and beneficial to students at both Osaka Metropolitan University, which we call OMU, and the U.S. institutions in 2021. The purpose of the program is to enhance students' intercultural understanding while they use their target language here, Japanese or English, in a casual setting. The program is offered daily from Monday through Friday for each VLT season, and one season is compatible with one semester. Okay, next slide, please.
Okay, all right.
So VLT is a student-led program, and then students run each session. So everyone gathers in the main room and then go to their assigned breakout room and talk in a small group. And then when the time is up, they come back to the main room and then say goodbye. So one session is 30 minutes long. So students are coming by appointment. And now I'll pass on to Dr. Namura to talk about the contents of the actual project collaboration.
So next, I'm talking about the steps of the project. The first, I taught Japanese free verse poems and the poets and those styles before the project started to my students. And next, GSU students created 5 sentences plus 2 blank sentences for a stanza. So 2 stanzas were required for the poem, for this project assignment. Then, Osaka Metropolitan University students provided their own sentences for the blank sentences and advices on the stylization of the poem, and also suggestions to revise vocabulary and grammar. So this is an example of my student's poem. The title is Suwarinayo, sit down. The meaning is sit down. I'm reading. Men nabiku, yubi na dosa, kaori tadayou, egao to tomoni. The meaning is noodle is waving, the movement is graceful, the smell is wafting with your smile. The poem is very beautiful, isn't it? Yes, so my partner, Professor Wallestad, will talk about this, how she suggested the revising, and also Osaka Metropolitan University, how suggested the revising of the poem, and yes. And this is the student's comment. My partner and I went over my poem, and she revised a couple of sentences and stylized it to flow better. She helped me to connect both stanzas because they at first felt as if they were 2 different stories, and now they feel like one. And also, after the project, I took the surveys. And this is the first question. You have completed the poem lyric creation project with Osaka Metropolitan University. Overall, was this project beneficial for you to develop your Japanese language skills? And 70 students responded, and over 16 students answered, chose 4 or 5. So I think this, according to this result, students gave me very positive response for this project, and the project was very beneficial for students, I think. And this is the next question. Which language skill do you think was most developed through participating in the virtual language tables? Though this project was a writing assignment and their final projects were created well, oral skills, for example, listening and speaking, had been also developed by negotiating meaning through interaction with their partners based on this result. And these are examples of comments, students' comments. And first one is scheduling it for the evening time was challenging for me. And second one is while talking with new people is tough for me. I did try to actively speak when possible to practice my speaking and pronunciation. And the third one is I tried to speak a little more often during the VLT. Even if I was saying the wrong word, I also learned how to listen a little more carefully because they were speaking faster than what I am used to hearing. Okay, Professor Wallestad, please.
Okay, thank you. So on the other hand, here are some learning outcomes of the OMU students. And through this collaboration, OMU students gained also valuable insights beyond just language itself. They were impressed by GSU students' creativity and word choice used in their poems. They were surprised to encounter expressions like yubi, graceful, or tadayoru, wafting, which Dr. Namura shared in the slide previously, but those words are really or not used in our daily conversation. So they were surprised with the choices that the GSU students selected. And then to select the most suitable words, they had to listen carefully and actively in both English and Japanese. So this process ultimately helped improve their listening and English skills. So negotiating meaning through interaction also helped them recognize their own Japanese proficiency, even though they are native speaker of Japanese, but that they realized about their own Japanese proficiency, and particularly in finding synonyms and understanding structural differences between two languages, such as the use of omission of subjects in the sentence in Japanese. So this self-awareness of their language use, both in Japanese and English, was a significant learning experience for them. And ultimately, this project was not just about writing a poem together, but also shows the importance of the process of learning. It was a profound learning experience in language, expression, creativity, and cultural awareness for both the GSU and OMU students.
Okay, so also another collaborations of with Osaka Metropolitan University. So we did in fall 2024, we did a brochure project with Professor Wallestad. And also currently we are working on the poem project again this semester, yes. And these are our contacts. Thank you so much.
From Japan, right? Welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. So as you can see here, our professors here are collaborating with international partners in many disciplines, like language, foreign language, and also physical science. And also we're going to have Dr. Spencer also in nursing, and also very interesting topic, right? About what is the theater, piety, and mental health, right? So you're going to hear, we have all kinds of wonderful collaborations. And also the collaborator, Dr. Tran is there. He's going to join us as well. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Dr. Claudette Spencer, and I'm going to explain my virtual exchange experience with Vietnam nursing students. So this collaboration was between mental health students on the Georgia State side, and then the Vietnam side, it was mostly a mixed cohort from different levels in the nursing program. And our goal was to look at a concept, really a cultural attribute such as filial piety and mental health, as it relates to mental health and
I'm sorry, maybe I didn't share, I'm sorry. Sorry about this.
There you go. It's okay. As it relates to filial piety, as it relates to mental health in the United States and Vietnam. And in looking at that topic, we had discussions, and this is the way I've designed the virtual exchange activity. I took the lead in designing it because it was my second virtual exchange activity, and with Nam University, it was their first, and so they were gracious enough to let me take the lead, and I was glad to do so. And so in designing it, this is the way I laid it out. The key aspects of the interaction was, first we had an icebreaker that was synchronous, and so we met on February 14th of this year, and we had a discussion. Now there's a 12-hour time difference between Vietnam and US. So we planned a time where our students can meet, everybody's awake, let's put it that way. So right now it's 11 hours because of daylight savings time, but most of the time back then it was 12 hours. So we met in the morning and they met at night. It was more convenient for them. That's something you have to look at in doing these exchanges, that what are your students doing? So the Nam University students found it more convenient to join in the evening, which was 8 p.m. We did 8 a.m. and they did 8 p.m. because then they're finished with working and so forth, because they also work like our students do, have family members, extended family to care for, and some are in the military, as I later found out. So we did our icebreaker, it went well, we did it on Zoom. We had breakout rooms and had smaller discussions. We had challenges, which Dr. Wee is going to discuss later, as soon as I'm done with the overview. And mostly language barrier issues with participation, but we still were able to have really productive discussions on Zoom. Next, we had a 4-week discussion following the very next week. We started four weeks in a row, where we would rotate 3 discussion topics on Padlet. Now, the asynchronous aspect of Padlet lend itself very nicely to what we're doing, because with the time difference, you're able to get on in the middle of the night, first thing in the morning, whenever you felt like, and respond to the discussion questions. Now, the discussion questions were all based on getting answers to how is mental health in Vietnam, how is it cared for for seniors, how does a family react, because keeping in mind that filial piety is high respect for seniors, and they're really seen as the true matriarch of the family. This was something we needed to look at to see where a culture that really embraced that, and then our culture that is mixed, because we have some of it, we have some that is not. How would those two mesh together? What would that look like in the discussion? So with the 3 discussion Padlets, it was opened every week, discussions take place, and then it was closed for input, and then we started a new Padlet, kind of to cue both sides as to when we finished one topic and led into the next. Then at the end, for my group, we had a reflective 8-page PowerPoint. Of course, we have 1 page's cover page. The end would be references, and then there were questions to be answered on the other 6 pages. It was a wonderful experience in that way, because reading those reflections and seeing what came out of it was truly amazing. We had a 99.9% satisfaction rate, and that students truly enjoyed it. And even though, now keep in mind, these are nursing students who are in the program taking 2 nursing courses, which have clinical components where you go over to the hospitals. So there's a lot on their plate, and yet they took the time out to do it. And on both sides, because the Vietnam students also had a lot on their plate, and they took the time out. And it was even more, there's a lot of commendation that should go to the Vietnam students in that even though our students went on Padlet and responded, the Vietnam students had to go on, get what they're saying, translate it into their language so they can get a feel for what's being said, and then write an English version so that we can understand what they're saying. So it was a great experience, and to see so many embrace it and make it successful. So our outcomes are many. So I just have 3 here because these were the 3 main themes in the responses. The increased cultural and global mental health awareness so that they can see where many mention things like, oh, I had no idea what was going on with seniors in that area. So we do have a large percentage of seniors that suffer from depression, and we know, of course, it's related to loss most of the time and things like that. So we have depression, and some have true psychiatric mental illnesses. So we looked at how is that handled, because clearly schizophrenia and the mental health illnesses such as this must be carefully managed to get counseling and so forth. So then we're looking at how the families in Vietnam truly embraced and got the care and the resources that are available. We looked at everything. Resources available, how is it affordable? There were so many different aspects of this topic that they totally just, there were so many pages of data. And it stimulated self-reflection, because when you look at the takeaways, you're seeing, well, in my family, and I never thought of it. They're like, well, how is my family handling the seniors, in our family? And so they're saying, many of them said, I'm looking at it different now. And then in relation to nursing practice, they look at it different in that now when I see a senior person, I have to think of what is going on in that area. I mean, are we getting family support? What can I do to help? What kind of resources can I provide to this family so that this individual can get the help they need? And the best of all is the friendships, true friendships. I mean, we love each other. We email each other back and forth. The students made friendships, and it was just a great experience. And the pictures below is the different modalities we use, the Padlet and the, if you're not familiar with our Padlet, it's basically a modality where you can have a typed response, or you can do a video response, or just a recorded response. So that's a great tool as well. And we use PowerPoint to do the final reflection. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hui. He's going to say how he felt about the experience.
Dr. Hui actually sent slides as well. So I'm going to. And by the way, Dr. Wei from Vietnam, Tainan University, right? Mm-hmm. He's the first PhD in nursing in Vietnam, trained in Sweden, and also he's the dean of the nursing school at the university.
So, good morning to all. I'm very happy to join the meeting today, and thank you for the introductions. And now I would like to share with you some experiences that the first time our student and also the faculty member to join the BE project, the learning between the 2 countries. And as you know that we had the topic, the filial piety and mental health in Vietnam and US culture. And from this project, we have learned a lot of things, and especially for our students, because you know that for us, for Vietnamese students, we have a barrier in language communication. But I had met some interviews with our students. So after the courses, they become more confident in their English, and they hope that they will have another VE courses with you.
Change. Here, I'm going to share a few artifacts of what went on. So actually, the first box, it shows what we do is an introduction, and the students really enjoy that because it's kind of like a little Facebook thing they do. And so they, as you can see, they did different styles according to their taste. The discussion Padlet looks like the one in the middle top. And so the discussion question would be there, and then they would click on the little conversation sign on the right, and they would add their comments so I can see how many comments are there. And you can see in that case, what do we have, 11, 14, so forth. On the right is the same thing. We have the reflection week. And rather than writing one question and it gets repeated over and over, since we had 12 groups, I did 12 different questions so I can get different standpoints. Besides, I was collecting data. I have a study coming up that's approved by the IRB. So that helps with that data collection. On the bottom, you'll see we have the packet. Students receive that packet, everything they need to know about virtual exchange in the course, posting etiquette and things like that. Over on the bottom left, we had our celebration. We always have a celebration on the last day. And so they sent a thank you to Daenam University nursing students. That's on the left, and in the middle, you'll see, I did give out certificates for students who were extra, really participated well, brought out some great points, and the ones who, we have some interviews that took place. So we're running out of time. So thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you join us.
Okay, thank you all so much. And also, as you can see here, we do have very collaborative projects with our international partners, and also for me, myself, I'm also doing this virtual exchange for over 10 years, and as many professors and Samantha as well, many of us, right, have been very dedicated. And for instance, in my course honors, virtual exchange course, I'm honored to have my students here, some of the students right here as well. So we are my course, we are actually collaborating with 3 countries, right? From working with Congress students and also with Chinese students, right? It's a kind of trilateral collaborations. Given the time difference, the language barriers, and a lot of things, right? We just finished, and we have this presentations all together last Wednesday, this past Wednesday actually, right? So it's you can imagine it's not easy, but our students are persistent, working really hard and communicate, and we made it very successful, right? We have my students later on to present, right? But anyway, so there are only about 9 minutes left. Many of these professors here and also abroad, so they have actually, you can see, right, consistently, it is very beneficial for the students, and of course, with much work. Professors have to collaborate, you have to spend a lot of extra time communicating with your partner professors and students as well, right? So I think they mentioned a lot about the positive outcomes already, the benefits for students. So instead of me asking some question, I want you to hear, right, all the audience here, so ask some practical questions to these professors, right, to our presenters here, whether it's online or here. Yes.
Hello, I'm Nike.
Okay, that's a good question, right? So do I have my email here? So yes, you can try to, we want to have like more collaborations in different areas. You can reach out to me. My email is yzhao@gftu.edu. You can write it down. Maybe we can have a sheet, right? You can write it out because I'm the head director of the GFU International Virtual Programs. So I will have further discussion about your interest, and also if the other professors feel interest. As you can see, a professor, they find their own partner, and also we try to match as well, right, based on the different needs. Yes?
My question, oh wait, I had a question. If you want finish.
No, I'm done already.
Oh, okay. I'm Dr. Joyce Pittman, and my question is, how do you reach out to faculty? How do you get faculty to become interested in global studies and doing this kind of exchange? Because oftentimes it's a challenge for faculty because so many of them do not see the connection to scholarship. So how do you get faculty interested, and how do you share this information with faculty so that they can see the value in reaching out and making these kinds of connections so that you can expand these efforts? Because it's great, it's excellent.
Thank you so much. I'd like to have Dr. David Yenerall. He's the associate provost.
Faculty associate.
Associate for international work. And in the past few years, Dr. David has been really promoting so many pyramid college professors to implement. Like right now, you have how many? As you see the statistics, they have 19 courses, right, implementing virtual exchange. So I'd like to answer this question.
Thank you. Yes. How do we get faculty to buy in, to participate? For one thing, every time someone hands me one of these, I shamelessly plug virtual exchange. I think and this is common throughout the discipline of virtual exchange, is that it's something for everyone. Every class should have a global component, and virtual exchange is the most cost-effective way to do this, and it leaves no one behind. Yali and I have a virtual exchange academy, so once people are interested, we can teach them the appropriate tools and methods and best practices to have a successful collaboration. As Carrie and Yali said, we will work to find partners for people who need partners. It is important that there's training. For a while, we had people who would do it one time, it didn't work out perfectly, and they would never do it again. And that was, from a manpower standpoint and an effort standpoint, that was difficult. So now we have people who are staying in it. And I think the key to that is training. And also, we kind of walk them through the first meeting or two with their partner. And maybe one of the two in the partnership would have an objection that may seem insurmountable. Yali or I can tell them the answer, how we can overcome this. So I think just the support is the way that you keep them doing it. Now, as far as awareness, spreading awareness, like I said, I talk about it anywhere that people will listen. My immediate sphere of influence in my department, I bugged them until they would do it, and then they saw that it was a positive thing. And then I have friends in other departments, and I've bugged them until they've done it. And it's been contagious. So they tell their partners, their friends, and so on, and it's becoming a movement. I hope it is. What would be ideal is if we could have pressure from beneath, if students could demand this. If sections start filling up first that are tagged virtual exchange and banner, then professors are going to want to be involved, and they're going to want to do it. Initially, the biggest pushback that I found was professors would say, I'm busy, I don't have time, this is just, I was asking them to do more work for no pay. And that's just a bad ask. So I started asking them, why won't you do this? And they said, well, I don't have a partner, I don't have the training. And so we can tackle that. I can't make them less busy, but I can help them in the ways that they actually need help. And this could be simple. I tell people to start small and grow your practice. So take an exercise, take a project that was embedded in one of your syllabi previously and adapt it with the cooperation and approval of your partner and make it just something that is a collaborative project, which will be more meaningful for the students anyway. And then once the students have a good experience and the practitioners feel more comfortable with virtual exchange, they always grow the program.
Right, and also if you look at GSU virtual exchange website, if you Google, right, just GSU virtual exchange virtual exchange, you will
you align your projects with the SDGs in any way? Because I know that's a big part of this agenda today. I see SDGs in quite a number of the sessions. So I was wondering if you do some type of alignment or look for specific projects related to the SDGs, or if it just emerges in the process.
Yeah, you certainly can do that. I mean, one of the things that I really like about virtual exchange is that, you guys can hear me without this, but one of the things that I love about virtual exchange is it can be accommodated in any course in any subject. So hopefully you took away that message from this very diverse panel, right? We had nursing, we have Japanese language, we have astronomy, right? So it doesn't matter what your course is about necessarily, right? Because every big problem that you're tackling in your course is going to be relevant for somebody else, somewhere else. And I didn't want to let us get away without responding to your great question about how can alumni get involved, because that is something that we really want to build at OII. We want to help build a network of our alumni who want to stay engaged. So we would love to have you talk about your experience after graduation. We'd love to have you talk to students about your experiences at Georgia State. What do you wish you had known? You know, how has being globally engaged helped you in your career? So anybody who wants to do that, tell your friends, yes, please contact us. We would love to set something up for you to give a talk. And also, I really want to second David's point about students. If you are wondering, why can't I take a virtual exchange? I've never heard of this. My professors don't do this. Talk to your professors and tell them that's what you want. That's your voices really matter more than anyone. So as soon as there starts being student demand for this, we will see even more growth. Thanks.
Right. And all the students, no matter it's GSU student or international student, and also including faculty, once the project success finished, all the professors and students will receive the international virtual exchange badges from the Office of International Initiatives here, and also sometimes we actually have the combined certificate as the one you created, right? Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your presentations. I'm Jacob Verman. I'm the Dutch Consul General, and I more or less have the same question. How can we as representatives of our countries, the consulates, be involved? And maybe we can discuss this later, but the Consular Corps here in Atlanta is a big and very professional Consular Corps. We have many diplomats as Consul General, but we also have a lot of honorary consuls. And once a month we come together and at a lunch. And this lunch is, most of the time, there is a guest speaker. So, at this moment, the Mexican Consul General is the Dean of the Consular Corps. So what we can do is to discuss this with him, how you can present this initiative, what is an excellent initiative and also very sustainable, how we can reach out and discuss this, how you can reach out and discuss this with the Consular Corps, how they can be your partner and stakeholder, and how they can bridge to universities in our countries to set up programs like this.
Yeah, we'd love to have that, and we can have further discussion about this, right? So we want to have more collaborations across different countries and regions. Yes, definitely.
May I? Actually, I may just piggyback onto that, actually for both of you. So for alumni, if in industry, I know that there are problems that have to be solved. So virtual exchange is a perfect space for students to work like kind of like an internship, but distance. So like if it's a good project learning environment. So if you have a project, you have something that you want solved or something you want completed, a virtual exchange group of students is an excellent fit, especially through Georgia State's College of Business. They're our biggest virtual exchange practitioners, and they're very good at this. And Murad is someone that you should speak with. we can make sure that you have his contact information afterwards. Sir, it is as far as building partnerships internationally. At Perimeter College, we've had virtual exchanges that were kind of different than the typical one. They weren't necessarily tied to a class, but we've had panel discussions between students at our university or our college and students at The Hague. In Belgium, we have student panels that are done by Zoom with Thomas More University in Belgium. So this is something that's very impactful for students to be involved in the issues of the world and have a voice and trying to address the issues that we all face. So I would very much enjoy having a discussion about how we can work through the consulate and maybe involve more universities and maybe business in Netherlands. Thank you.
I know we're running right up against time, but one thing that I wanted to stress in this process was about a little over a decade ago now, we started to really have serious conversations about virtual exchange at Georgia State. And one of the things that, the question that about how does this get supported, and that was really at the core of those initial conversations. And part of it was it has to have the bottom-up component, which I think we've talked a lot about here, but it also had to have the top-down support where department chairs and faculty review committees and people who were looking at the record of what you do and how you're evaluated, it had to count for something. And the really good news is 10 years later, it does. It connects to your, pedagogical part of your work. It connects to student success, which is huge now, and it's kind of even emerging as its own pillar. So we've got this sort of great coalescence of the bottom-up support, but also now it's institutionalized. So we have it at OII. We see it now where when you write about, and this is for faculty in particular, but students, you should know about this too, because when faculty are thinking about what do I do to support students' engagement and success, virtual exchange can be a pretty important and powerful factor in that. And then, and Jacob, to your question as well, where that sort of the way that sort of top-down support can manifest is if you're in the consular corps and you're in those circles and now you've got people sort of looking at what you're doing and providing further validation for that and support for that and the partnerships, that's stuff that faculty can bring back and put into their sort of report, what did I do? And that's stuff that department chairs can go brag to their dean about, and the dean can go brag to the pro, so everyone wins, right? The biggest thing in this is we're now institutionally set up to make this a really big set of win-wins all around. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we don't have the time. So maybe you can write your email, your name and email if you're interested, so we can talk further about all the possibilities. And also, I forgot to mention, we also have the honors college. It's not kind of identified here, but we do have, this semester, we have 28 students in 2 courses offered by the honors college, but the students are coming from different disciplines. So that's why it's not taken here, right? The representative of my class. Thank you so much. And I'll be here if you have further questions, you can ask or any of the professors here. We know it's time for the different sessions. Yes? Yes, right. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And also, as I want to see business school, you can see more than half of the students, right, from the business school. And Dr. Fernando Doria, he has been also very instrumental, right, in offering virtual exchange courses for many, with the largest number actually for more than 20 courses.